Welcome viewers, and today just I am going to start from the fifth stanza. Now tell us what it was all about. Young Peterkin, he cries, and little Wilhelmine looks up with wonder-waiting eyes. Now tell us all about the war and what they fought each other. So now tell us what it was all about. Young Peterkin, he cries. Young Peterkin was so much excited to listen from his grandfather all about the stories of the fighting or the war. Then how the war was fought. Then what was the benefit of the war. So what was the cause of the war. So all about tumbling into minds of the young Peterkin, and he was also trying to get the answer from his grandfather. And little Wilhelmine looks up with just wonder-waiting eyes. And little Wilhelmine also there. And little Wilhelmine, yes, that is Peterkin's sister, with wonder-waiting eyes. And her eyes was full of wonders. Full of wonders. Because she was looking so anxiously and also eagerly to know all about this, because she had a lot of faith about his grandfather. So she looks up. I think she was just getting short in height, and she was also looking at his grandfather, how to look carefully, how to properly look at. And also her eyes were full of wonders, excitement, was to know about all about the wonderful stories about the wars from his grandfather. Now tell us all about the war and what they fought each other. Then why did they fought? What was the cause of the fighting? And what was the benefit of the fighting? So all about the both grandchildren were vehemently just waiting for the grandfather to deliver the answer. So now, sixth stanza. It was the England Caspar cried, who put the French to rout. So Caspar very easily answered that. Only answer of the old Caspar was that England defeated the French in that glorious war. And but what they fight to each other for? But Caspar denied. Just I did not know anything about the cause of the war or the benefit of the war. So I have no idea about that. So I could not just well make out. But everybody said, just quote he. He said, but everybody recommends it. Everybody just means giving their suggestions, recommendations, approvals, and granted it because just but everybody just said means that is here given. So I could not, but everybody said. Sure, everybody granted, made approval of this because the state propaganda and such commoner, those common people like also the old Caspar, also telling the stories. So they believed blindly. The common man believed the story about the war very blindly because they did not have any knowledge. Another thing, bought is given. What is the meaning of the bought? Bought means neither could they remember about the war nor the significance at all. Only they could blindly accepted it because blindly accepted means what was its devastation and destruction far and wide, only about that. And that was the famous victory. And again, that old Caspar keeps on insisting and repeating the same, that is the war is glorious and famous. So now my father lived at blaming on them, and even little stream just hard by. So my father means here old Caspar is telling about his childhood time. He was a very small child and telling about my father. Because Caspar's father lived at that is Blenheim, and it was very close to the stream flowing thereby. That is, little stream also very close to that place was flowing by. And they burnt his dwelling to the ground. Dwelling means that is the house or the building to live in. And at last he was forced to fly. So with his wife and child he fled, nor had to where to rest his. And they were forced to leave that place. That under so tremendous compulsion that they had to flee away, ran away from that place in fear of the severe war fighting going on there. And they did not find at any place to take shelter or to live in. And old Casper's grandfather old Casper's father just went away from that place. He was very scared of, and he just ran away just with the small child and also his wife. Because in fear of the civilian, that is the military attacks. So that's it. Here the old just Casper acknowledged to the readers that when just I was so small child, my father faced such kind of the circumstances during the warfare time. So now another stanza. So with fire and sword the country round, and just was wasted far and wide. So fire means to ablaze, to set fire the houses completely, and the sword means to brutally kill or murder. So that is with round and wasted for far and wide. Wasted means that is great destruction. So because just the enemy soldiers just brutally kill and also burn down the houses completely, and lots of lives, properties just were gone down or destroyed during that time, and many just childing mother. Then childing mother means those pregnant mothers and bearing the childs, and also now newborn babies died. Many newborn babies also were died just on the spot, and many unborn babies were said, that is called the pregnant women. Many unborn babies were also dead on spot. But things like that must be. But things like that must be. Is telling to the grandchildren or the reader that that must be means it is inevitable part. This kind of situation, this kind of glorious victory, one can get or one can gain the glorious victory at the cost of such type of, that is called, it is bound to happen. This kind of situation is bound to happen. So I think it was very tragic incident, tragic story. Lots of innocent and poor lives also just passed away just due to such kind of devastations. So still then, just he signifies or glorifies that it was a famous victory. So next tangent. So that I will go on. So then say it was a shocking sight, very terrific, dreadful sight. So after the just battle was won, aftermath of the war was won. After there was a very dreadful sight for many thousand just body. Many thousand means it is horrifying and terrifying aspect of that. And also laureate in the sun. Laureate means that is the scavengers, vultures may tail away the open bodies falling, the dead bodies. Those are involved in just military fightings, warfare times. And laureate means that is called suffer from decaying. So under the torch of the sunlight, so their dead bodies falling under the clear blue sky, they were just suffered from decaying. Means nasty bad odors coming from that. And there also vultures and scavengers must have been eaten away, and only the skulls also living on that spot. And just after a famous victory. But things like that you must know. Again also he keeps on repeating, keeps on insisting that it means it is bound to happen. It is inevitable on the part of the glorious success. If you can achieve, you can just to get a victorious war, then you must be, means you are bound to come to such kind of situation means. So otherwise you can't win a glorious or victorious wars. So according to the old Casper, what he describes about the warfare. So now this great praise for the Duke of Marlborough and just our good Prince Eugene. He tell just that is the worth of the praiseness, worthy of the praisefulness. That means goes to the Duke of Marlborough. Is instantaneous, just a very praisefulness, straightforward goes to the Duke of Marlborough, who was the military commander of the Britishers, and our good Prince Eugene. Prince Eugene was a very successful military commander of Austria. He had made joint hands with the Duke of Marlborough. And also, why just it was a very wicked thing, just said the Williamine. Little Williamine, not believing in the story, not getting trustworthy about this. Then he asking question. Yes, after all, just asking this question to his the grandfather. Just you are telling it was a glorious victory, famous victory, lots of praises going to the hands of the two military commanders. Till that I don't believe. Then he just a little Uleman says it was very wicked thing, very nasty, very evil, morally wrong. But that's why you describe me about the cause of the stories. And nay, my little just girl, Koti, it was a famous victory. No, my little child. Here, Caspar also telling, just a grandfather. No, my little child, my dear child. He said it was a famous victory. Only again he repeating just it was the same, just glorious victory, outstanding, famous victory. But just a little ulemai just told it was a very wicked thing. Uncivilized acts, brutal acts that was just handled to lots of civilians just lost their lives, and many soldiers also tumbled down, lost their lives in that wildfire. So now I go to the last tangent. And everybody praised the Duke who this great just fight did win. So every praises means every just part of the means the praises, worthy of praises, just bouncing back, going straight forward to the Duke of Marlborough. Because everybody praises Duke of Marlborough for having won the just successful battle, glorious battles, just against the French, and won the battle at last. And just eventually he just won the battle. So here old Caspar is going to justify his proofness. He justify his answer. Then justify the answer means what he told, that it was a glorious victory, great victory, tremendous victory. So that's why he says that to justify his the proofness of the answer, that everybody praises the Duke of Marlborough for his outstanding victory against the French. But what good came out at last? Quoth little Peterkin. Peterkin asking, then what the greatness we got or achieved at last? Then what the success we got at last? And what are the good thing we got at last? What is the fruitfulness that we got at last? So that's why the Peterkin here just is extremely anxious and giving his retaliative answers to just his grandfather. So no, I don't believe it. So what came out good? What we got from it? Nothing. Not believing in that story, in a negative frame of mind. So then what that I can tell, he said. But old Caspar feeling very meek, very miserable, very thulkine, and also giving negative answer. No, I don't have any knowledge about, I am regardless of the information about that. But only one thing I know about that, but it was a famous victory. Only one thing, it was a very famous victory. It was very sizzling, mammoth, genuine victory for the England, but the British to defeat the French in that. Here we just apparently know one thing from that, from our the sensible point of view, that old Caspar only hitting hard, very just one thing, just believing believing in the outcome of the story, the end of the story, that it was a famous victory, glorious victory, and regardless of the destruction and also the devastation and the loss of the civilian casualties and many more, the also the soldiers. So living from his heart, wiping from his heart, only he could not believe in that, the sufferings, the destructions, he could not at all believe that, or could not describe to the readers, or even if also to his grandchildren. But one thing just I'll assume in this, that was then that It was the great victory and tremendous victory. Still then, old Caspar is compared with nowadays the modern politicians. Why old Caspar is compared with the modern politicians nowadays? Because he has only described, he has only just means giving his attributions. He has only sympathy, means he has the focused only one limelight of that, because and only concern is about that is it is a paramount victory, just it is a tremendous victory, but not at all going to the deaths and sufferings of the civilian casualties and many more persons also who died down or buried in that into that place also there. So now I have completed this chapter. Thank you all, and also bye bye to all.